Hello everyone, I got another cool time-lapse video to show you on this dragon. It's pretty cool. Before I get started, I want to talk a little bit more about what you're seeing right here. First off, this right here is a emergency armature stand. While I was doing the feet, it started cracking up underneath. There was a crack right underneath here and underneath this arm right here. It's grown so big and it's gaining weight with all this clay, and the armature just couldn't support it. And I just made me an armature stand, and I didn't think to use it for this, but now I know that when you're making something pretty big like this, always use an armature stand so it can support that weight of the clay. But in this video, I'm basically doing the chest piece, the little plates on here, which look pretty cool. What I really like about them is how they cast the shadow when you have the light on them. And I also got all 4 of his feet done. And I put them on pads. That way the nails, the claws don't get damaged or broke. They stay safer that way. And I have it sitting on glass because the sheet pan I use is a little uneven. It's not the flattest thing in the world. So when I'm going to put this in the oven like this and bake it on this glass. Glass is pretty flat, so it should turn out pretty decent. That right there is my favorite foot. I like it. I'm going to maybe add a little more lining on it, some wrinkles and stuff, and it won't be long and I'll be sticking him in the oven very carefully to bake him. Anyhow, let's get to the time-lapse part. I hope you enjoy. Okay, starting this off, I'm making all these chest plates. Basically, I started off by pre-drawing everything onto the sculpture as a guide. And what I tried to do was go by every second row of scales. You see how the scales run right up the neck all the way up to the top of the heads. Every other row I tried to make a line as a basic guide. If I had to, finagle it a little bit here and there, I did, but that's how I got it started. And basically what I'm doing is I'm taking my tool, this is a spatula tool, and I'm compressing the top side of each plate inwards enough to make it contrast with the plate above it, which I left, at its regular thickness. So what it looks like, it gives it a distinguished plate look. It also plays really, really nice with shadows. When you have overhead light, it casts shadows down on the sculpture pretty good. And another thing I really like about this is when you're looking at it from the side, you can see the detail, how the different angles or the different levels of thickness and stuff show up pretty good. This is a very simple approach. I didn't want to make it too complicated, but I feel it really did justice for adding some kind of detail, something going on right there in the front. I didn't want to just leave it smooth, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. And for the feet here, y'all remember me doing that, well, I had done a test foot, so I'm going to show you how I did that test foot by doing the other front foot. But first I wanted to add a 5th finger, an opposable thumb. Someone suggested that it should have opposable thumbs, and I got to looking at images of dragons, and sure enough, pretty much every one of them they actually have like hands. They have more like their front hands are human-like. They have the thumbs, and well, they probably have 4 fingers. But oh well, I guess it doesn't matter. So I added a thumb, and once I get everything done, I clean it up with my clay softener. And I wanted to make them match pretty well, so I'm just using a compass. It's not really what a compass is for, but you can use it as kind of like a caliper if you don't need an exact measurement and you're just trying to match things. And this is how I went about doing it, making the other claw. That middle one was a little too small for me, for my liking, so I just cut it off and put another one. But I just roll up some cones and I put them on there, and I just cover it with a sheet of clay. That gives it like the cuticle look. Took a while to figure out how to do the back feet. I did not include the back feet on this because of the weird angles and stuff I had to do. It took so long to do this, I didn't want to put it all on the same film. This is enough to give you an idea of what I went through to make them. You can pretty much use this same formula for any feet, foot, whatever it is you're making, hands. Making this other opposable thumb, I had a little bit of trouble doing it because it didn't look right, and then I just readjusted it, cut a piece out, move it. I just kept working with it until it looked good. A lot of times that's what you have to do. These were the last two things I needed to do for this dragon, the chest piece and these feet. Now that I'm done, I can move on to the next step and bake it. I'll do some light sanding, and then I'll paint it with some acrylic paints, and I'll put that on film for you. Thank you guys so much for watching this. It really means a lot. Don't forget to rate it if you can. And drop me a comment and let me know if you're excited to see this thing painted or not. So until then, I'll see you here again soon. Thanks again.